For those that don't know me, I am Mark Roberts. I am the Green Party's candidate for United States House of Representatives in Texas' 2nd District. Like many of you out there, I have grown tired of listening to the same solutions proposed to a list of problems that never seems to change. One question has always stuck with me. How can more of the same thing that caused the problem solve the problem? Okay? The path we're on is not working. The cavalry isn't coming. Aomer and the riders of Rohan will not appear at the top of the ridge at dawn. Okay? We cannot afford to wait for the market to solve the problem. For most Americans, the market is the problem. For generations, we have almost unconsciously elected Democrats and Republicans to run the country. Over the years, these Democrats and Republicans have proved that they are incapable of coming up with lasting solutions to the problems that we face. As far back as 1912, Theodore Roosevelt ran on a campaign to end economic inequality and to end the concentration of wealth and the consolidation of industry. 20 years later, his cousin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, ran on a very similar program with a very similar message as our country faced the Depression. 20 years passed, the problems had not changed. In 1960, 28 years after Roosevelt, Dwight David Eisenhower warned the country of the growing power and might of the military and industrial complex. No one listened. Today, 42 years after Eisenhower, the drumbeat continues. The consolidation of industry, the concentration of wealth continue to march on unabated. In today's world, however, not only does the concentration of wealth continue and the consolidation of industry continue, but increasingly the wealthy and powerful control the media, the message, and our political process. On only one occasion over the last century has this pattern changed, and that was during the Great Depression when our country faced total economic collapse. During that period, some of our leaders came up with bold and visionary programs to try and solve the problems. During that brief moment of clarity, our nation hired 14 million Americans to do thousands upon thousands of infrastructure jobs. Many of those infrastructure projects are still in use today. Today, we have millions of unemployed Americans and millions more who are underemployed. According to the American Society of Civil Engineers, our nation's infrastructure is falling apart under our very feet. But none of those elected officials that we have elected and sent to Washington or to Austin or to any other places has bothered to propose reenacting those Depression-era jobs programs. In fact, even during Roosevelt's time, those programs faced stiff opposition. Our elected leaders couldn't wait to end those programs. As soon as it appeared that the problems of the Depression had ended, they began to cancel them out, and by 1950, almost all of those programs were gone. Almost all, but not all of them. Today, our elected leaders are determined to eliminate the last of those remaining programs. And in doing so, they risk recreating that depression and that economic crisis that haunted America all those years ago. By any definition, our nation does indeed face a new crisis. We live in a world that is growing increasingly hostile. We live in a world where global corporations pit American workers against workers around the world in a contest that they're both destined to lose. Innovations in technology today continue to create structural unemployment, forcing thousands to choose between the industrial or middle class supporting industrial jobs they once held and replacing them with service industry jobs that are poorly paying. The modern throwaway lifestyle that we lead is rapidly burning through the biological capital that we as people depend upon and our economy depends upon. Currently, the popular solution to this crisis is to enact austerity programs that are designed to reduce deficits and reduce debt. Much like those programs enacted in Greece, in Ireland, in Spain, and Italy, these programs have a very poor track record. They do not reduce debt, they do not decrease deficits, and they increase poverty. If these programs will not work, then what can we do to put in place to create programs that will work? The Green Party advocates an approach that includes several components. These components are largely community-based, like creating democratic or transparent democratic unions, creating worker cooperatives and worker-owned companies, organizing local investment banks and local community development organizations, Greens also believe that we should guarantee employment to everyone who is seeking a job, and we also believe that we should provide a single-payer healthcare system. If the solution to the community is largely community-based, then what is the role of government in this process? Greens believe that government should create a fair and equitable tax system that's progressive and that does not grant favors to those that are wealthy and powerful. We also believe that these tax codes should reward corporations for reducing the social and environmental costs of their activities and reward individuals for adopting healthy and ecological lifestyles. We in the Green Party believe that the government should stop doing things that are ineffective and wasteful, such as the war on drugs and the criminalization of poverty. By doing these things, we can bring about a healthy, sustainable economy for us all to live in and healthy communities for us all to enjoy. Please support me and other Greens in bringing about this new vision of America. Please visit my website and check out all the information I have there. It's www.markrobertsgreenparty.org.